Hey folks, welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. It is Saturday the 10th of April and thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about the sugar rush that's going on, right? Every time you turn on the news, you hear that things are booming. Everyone is anticipating this surge and this rush in business. From F1 racetrack, indoor racetracks, they have birthday parties, to laser tag places, to movie theaters. Everyone is expecting a rush. Governors are opening up all across the country. I heard Roger Goodell say that he expects full capacity at all the football games going on in 2021, starting in, I guess, August for the preseason games. I even heard Bob Kraft expect at Gillette Stadium to go into this full 100%. As a manager or as a founder of a nonprofit, one of the ways we raise money is volunteers go to Gillette Stadium and they help run a food concession. And I was on the phone with the woman who manages the volunteer groups, and I was talking to her, and she said that Gillette Stadium's going to have everyone sign an affidavit, not holding them responsible, and they are opening up and they can't wait to do so. But not so fast. If I'm going to have 12 volunteers go and volunteer for the Tanzania School Foundation, do you really think I would put their lives in jeopardy? I was reading an article, I guess it came out a few hours ago. Israel inoculated like 99% of their population. They got the Pfizer vaccine. Well, now they're saying that people are getting infected with COVID. The South African variant breaks through the Pfizer vaccine. Now, we don't know what other variants break through the J&J or Moderna because not one country has had 100% of one vaccine, right? So Israel is a great testing source because all of their residents or citizens received the Pfizer vaccine. And now they're showing they're still getting 200 cases per day. And they're saying that the South African variant is found in those vaccinated 8 times higher. So we got some stuff coming up, folks, and this is, we are in a trial, and I got the Pfizer vaccine and I get my second one on Wednesday, and you sign a paper, they give you a paper that, basically says you're part of a trial, that this is still a trial. I mean, look at India, look at Brazil and Chile and Argentina and France and the UK. And if you think that a fourth wave is going to be eliminated because we got some vaccines that prevented the original COVID, we're not out of this. Doctors and nurses are still going to see huge amounts of hospitalizations. I'm not convinced. I mean, I would like the world to go back to normal. I really would. I would really like to raise money the way we always did by having big events with hundreds of people or sending volunteers to Gillette Stadium to run a food concession or whatever it might be. I went to a train station parking lot. It's a fairly big parking lot. It holds up to 782 cars. And I took a ride on Wednesday, and you can see the video behind me. There were only about 60 cars between the two sides of the tracks. 60 at $4 a day. You do the math, folks. That train station parking lot lost $750,000 in a year. And you multiply that by train stations all up and down the East Coast, or maybe even everywhere. Like, people travel to go to work. This train station happens to have trains that go to both Boston and Providence. 30 cars in the middle of the afternoon on one side and 30 cars on the other. It's a lot of revenue lost. And when people think about jobs, they think about hotels and airlines and movie theaters and restaurants. It trickles down that is a direct hit to the town. The town gets the money. In this case, it was Canton. Every town across the country is facing the same problem. I also want to talk about real estate today, because what I see in real estate is the government propping everything up. And they don't want people to move out of their house, right? They want everyone to stay in one place. They don't want evictions. They don't want foreclosures. They're trying to prevent everything. But there's a supply and demand problem, right? So when there's lack of supply and high demand, prices go up. And there's a lot of demand from first-time home buyers. I mean, usually it's a cycle, and houses are available for younger people or people starting a family to buy a home at the price that it should be, right? But when there's supply and demand problems, basically limited supply, high demand, the prices tend to go up to astronomical levels. So while the government is preventing, or is aiding in people not being removed from their home or not being able to sell their home or whatever the case may be, but it has a downward spiral because these young people can't buy a house at a price that is affordable. And let's face it, if there's a decent house in the neighborhood, and even if it's going for $400,000, and in the south of Boston here where I live, $400,000 doesn't get you much. But those houses are selling for $600,000. And hedge funds and companies are coming in and paying all cash. And there is a problem now with people who want to start their lives and buy a house for the actual rate, not the supply and demand problem rate. No one's going to give them a mortgage on, for more money than the house is worth. So we have that going on, and I'm sure it's going on all around the country, but it's especially vivid here in Massachusetts. And I feel sorry. I have 3 kids that I'm sure would love to start a family one day, and love to settle down and buy a house. I can't see that happening right now. And although the government is preventing people from being evicted and people from being foreclosed on, they're also preventing the natural evolution of happening. And that's unfortunate, especially if you're a young person wanting to start out. All right, folks, keep your masks on, get vaccinated. We're not through this yet, and I don't think we're going to be through it for a long time. I have this dialogue with my son and my husband all the time. We go back and forth. I think we have a sugar rush going on right now, and people are rushing to get out and, live their lives. But I think it's going to be short-lived. I don't think that we've done our due diligence. And yes, it's been a really long year, and I'm afraid it's not over. Anyway, buckle down tight, folks. I mean, we got Jerome Powell steering away from interest rates and inflation, and now he's talking about unemployment and homelessness, and he's going all over the place. He wants to see employment up for blacks and women, especially because those numbers are really down, until, they're monitoring and trying to manipulate the inflation with interest rates. We know that inflation is high on a lot of things, but that's a supply and demand problem. Just keep an eye on the supply chain this week too, because after that bottleneck in the Suez Canal, I think that we're going to see some problems in the supply chain this week. All right, folks. That's what I got for you today. I miss you. Thank you so much for watching. I do have a favor to ask. If you made it this far, please give this video a big thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you could, in the link in the description, there is an Amazon link that you can sign up where if you buy anything on Amazon, Amazon donates to our charity. So if you can click that link and sign on to the Tanzania School Foundation, and then we get those pennies for every $10 you spend, we would greatly appreciate it. Have a great day, folks. Thanks for watching.